take a look at the market today, shall we?
Quick tips today on things that I picked up at the market.
All right. Let's see what we got.
Welcome to Food is Medicine, where medicine meets the menu. The podcast where the art of culinary excellence meets the science of modern medicine. Join the world's first and finest chef-neurologist dynamic duo, Dr. Victor Wang and Chef Dennis Arvizu, as they dive into the powerful link between our dietary choices and our well-being. Uncover the impactful ways in which simple changes in diet can ward off chronic illnesses, sharpen mental acuity, and contribute to a longer, healthier life. Prepare to be hungry for more than just food. Tune in to their insightful and occasionally spicy discussions today, and find out how the food choices you make can spice up your health for a tastier tomorrow.
So spring is in full swing, and did pick up some new type of vegetables this week, and I figured I'd share them with you and see if inspires you to make something. So let's see here. Well, I can only pull out things that you may or may not have seen previously. Sometimes people are afraid to go to the market because they don't know what to do with ingredients they don't see very often. So to start off some of these things, I finally did find asparagus, right? And I also found fava beans. So with fava beans, unlike the snap peas and the English peas, these we pretty much need to peel twice. So if you're a person that doesn't like to or doesn't have enough time to prep, these might be for more special occasion where you have some time, or get your kids involved. Free labor. Now here's something that some may or may not see. And this is kind of the beginning of coming into spring. And these are what we call Pattypan squash. And they look like little trompos, like little spinning tops. So it's a good indication of going into summer. Then you also have these smaller, well, maybe not smaller, but rounder squash. So what's the big difference? Most of us probably have seen the yellow, the green zucchini. These are very similar, yet they have a more subtle, delicate flavor, and they're very versatile. So these, ironically, for those that play maybe pool or billiards, this is kind of learned as the 8-ball, and this is more of your cue ball, right? One of the things here is that these are very versatile when you can saute them, you can grill them, you can steam them, you can roast them. The big thing with these is they have a lot of moisture content. So if you're looking for something that is quick, easy, and hydrating, go with the Pattypan squash. The thing with these is they can also overcook very easily. And so if you don't like mushy textures, these are a little bit more delicate. So one of the things is if you're a beginner for cooking, roast them, right? They're just going to dry out in terms of the moisture, and you're concentrating the flavor. Just plain simple salt, pepper, olive oil. Now, you can grill these. I personally don't like to grill them that much because the flavor is so delicate that when you grill it, you're just going to get your grilled flavor. So if you're looking for just a vegetable to eat but mask it with something else, like charcoal or wood or mesquite, then I'll grill it. Very quick though, because of the moisture content. I recommend undercook them, keep them a little still crunchy, and the residual heat will finish them off. My personal favorite is just to saute them. I do quarter them, a nice quick sear on one side, concentrate kind of a little bit of a crust, and then just allow them to finish off in a pan. Serve them as a side. They're really, like I said, they're a good base. You could also make them as a soup. You steam them and they overcook, become mushy. Puree them, you got a nice soup. You can also have these cold, so it's a good cool soup as well. They're high in fiber, they're high in water content, so a lot of your hydration can come from them. They're good heart health conscious menus. They have a lot of potassium. They're low calorie, and they're probably the most simplest thing you can cook in terms of versatility. It's just about timing. So again, if you're starting off with these, I would recommend just start off with roasting them, and you can go from there. You don't need to peel these, really. Just wash them really well, get all the residue off and pop them up nicely. And I think we touched on, when you look at food, taste the rainbow. So look for color. So we have our squash. Now, the love-hate relationship of asparagus. Some do not like asparagus, and some love asparagus. I am one of those people that will only have asparagus a few times of the year. Right now, during the spring, when it's in season, of course, I'll have some. The thing with asparagus is, depending on how thick it is, you can get very thick spears. I mean, it does look like a little spear. You peel these, right, if you don't want that fibrous texture. You definitely want to cut off the white stem. In this case, the farmer already did that for me. Yeah, and peel these. And if you're looking to make your plate look a little bit fancier, I want to say, have a little contrast in color. You can do little streaks on your guess. You can eat them raw, solid. They do have this grassy, earthy taste, so that's not your flavor profile. The thing with these are, how do you cook them? So like the squash, you can roast these, you can grill these. I would say the thicker the better if you're going to grill them. You can blanch them, or, what you would call like kind of like a flash steam. It's how to retain that greenness though, very fast, and then dump it in some ice water and they'll stay nice and green. And that's really where you probably will use them for a salad. Cut them down the middle and get a little bit more. You have this little spear, right? Or spear, and you can serve them however you want. A bit of olive oil, salt. It go well with Parmesan cheese. They're crispy or crunchy. What makes these so good for you is the question. So I know we've touched on like anti-inflammatory properties. These are loaded with them as well. What makes asparagus unique is it is loaded with folate. So if somebody is going through a pregnancy and you need folate in your diet, asparagus are the way to go, or a way to go. The thing I hate about asparagus is you find them on almost every chain menu. And because of that, most of the time you're not getting them in season. So most people get these flavorless asparagus, and then there's the stigma that asparagus tastes pretty terrible. So the thing also with asparagus that's unique is it's a natural diuretic, meaning it removes water, right? So it's a good detox vegetable. Here's where it gets interesting though. If you never had asparagus, maybe some have, one of the, how would I put this, byproduct of asparagus is that when you go to the bathroom, when you go pee, there's this yellow, sometimes it's like a bright green fluorescent, and people start freaking out. It's actually stuff that's being excreted from your kidneys that is actually detoxing your body a bit. The other part, though, is that for the majority of us, that also comes with this type of stench. And that is actually a sulfur gas that comes in your urine and is released very quickly as soon as it excretes the body. And so you get this sulfuric, not so pleasant smell when you go to the bathroom. For some, there is a gene that is missing and you actually do not smell this. So there are a few people, or there are some people that will just have the fluorescent pee, but they won't have any of the stench. And for others, you get both. So one thing I could say is if you have a party at home, a bunch of guests, unless you want your house to start stenching like sulfur and pee, don't give them asparagus. But it is what I would say, it's a natural cleanser. So again, these are very versatile, very easy to use. Same thing. You want them to stay green, cook them, then blanch them, ice them, and you can utilize whatever you want with them. I do personally like them grilled. So you would get the thicker ones, cut them in half. Nice way to go. A little bit of lemon, olive oil, salt. Call it a day. Fava beans. These are amazing for protein. So, never had a fava bean. It is a bean. It is loaded in protein. No, the shell is not edible. But then you got these big beans. They put these in the ground and you will start growing. So the thing with fava beans, though, is there's an additional skin, and that's what makes them a little bit tough. So you start to see the skin come off, and really what you want is just this bean. So you don't really want this really tough, not so pleasant skin. Now, that's rule number one. So if you get fava beans and you only take off the outer shell, you're not going to enjoy these. This is essentially the big bean. And this is what's very good. Very sweet. It's high in protein. I hope you utilize these. So the best way, first off, to peel these, you'll drop them in some boiling water so the skin will seize and then they'll peel off. Put them in some ice water, take off the skin. So essentially you get the double peel these. So I said for these, they're not the fastest thing to do, but they are a good thing to teach your kids, how to prep food. I think that's a good one. They have a bit of a buttier, nuttier taste, and these are also very good, sauteed, steamed, pureed. You can make some very good purees with this as a base for your dish. So there is something unique about fava beans. There is a condition called glucose 6 phosphate hydrogenases, if I remember my nomenclature correct for organic compounds. But the simple way to spell it is G6PD. And it's a type of anemia that affects your blood cells, weakens them. And so if you do have this condition, do not eat fava beans. So there is a distinction between G6PD and just typical anemia. But if you have concerns or just anemia in general, check with your doctor, your health practitioner first to ensure that you're able to eat fava beans. Because if you do have G, this will cause a very unpleasant reaction. So that's it for what's new in markets today. Till next time.
Thank you for joining us on this enlightening episode of Food as Medicine, where medicine meets the menu. We hope today's episode has inspired you to rethink the role of food in your health journey. Remember, the power to nourish your body and mind lies on your plate. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review and share. Food as Medicine, where medicine meets the menu, on all major podcast platforms with others who are passionate about living well. Until next time, keep experimenting in the kitchen and discovering the powerful, healing potential that lies within every meal.